Hey y'all, I am Niambi Shalee. I'm a spiritual teacher and I read tarot. I am here to show you how I modify this deck from white borders to black borders. The most efficient is if it has a black border on the inside. What I figured out by trial and error is if that side is white, that a permanent marker can like bleed on the other side and then it makes the card look like trash. And then you have to make this black, which with permanent marker, I also found out permanent marker, and this is not like, I'm not getting paid for this, but I use this Carter stamp pad, or ink pad, because ink is unlike permanent ink, which comes off on the hands. So I take the card and rub it, get the corners on each side, and I take a dry cloth and get off the excess and add it to the deck. I will go through the deck and see where there are any spots that I may have missed at the end, but basically a dry ink pad. This has been the trick that has worked amazingly for me. So I've been able to make my simple decks. Cool was an inexpensive deck, and I do have more expensive decks, but you can make any deck divine. And so I found that modifying a cheap deck, card stock is not so bad. I want to say like with this card stock, it's really hard. It everybody knows this is the Modern Witch. It's really strong, but I find that cards like this just shuffle better for me. So, and I have really big hands, but I could imagine someone with smaller hands. And so then I take and what I'm actually going to do is, before I use it, I am going to let it cure outside of the box for about 5 days. And then, see, I see a little weakness right there, but I'll go back over through the cards and make sure, because I'm a perfectionist. I'm Libra, so even though you wouldn't be able to see those things on camera. So what I also did was taking a semi-wet. So I've had it sitting out for a while so that it's not so wet as when you take a wipe. So as when you take it out of the box, that it's semi, and then it'll get any excess without wiping off your ink. And then, like I said, I will allow this to cure for about, I probably said 10 days, but I will probably let it cure for about 5 days, so that once I use it, it will not get on my hands during a reading. Yep. So let's do that one more time. You can bless, by doing this, I found that I get a better connection with my deck. And not just this, I mean modifying my deck in any kind of way gives me a better connection with the deck, opposed to just like a really nicely made deck and you just basically bless it and you know, it's real. You don't have to do anything to it. I found that by modifying my deck and making it beautiful, okay, because this was a deck that I modified. I may do a how-to on this, but this is like cool. This is the coolest modification that I've ever done. And I'm okay with it being speckled on the sides. Excuse me. I'm okay with it being speckled on the sides. I think it gives it character. But this is like my most aggressive deck. This deck does not play at all. Like, if I want a good read if I want a good read, I pick up this deck. But I actually ran out of paint and had to use another color, so you can see like the differences. But it looks so good when I'm shuffling on camera. It's just so different, so many different patterns. Like that one, oh, I love that. See how that's a different color? Like, I love this deck. And to do 78 cards like this, and when I say this deck be giving, like, it gives me exactly what I want, what I'm looking for. So I love this deck, and it's really sturdy card stock. It was a really good, nicely made deck, but it was too glossy. And they did have a design on him, but it was really, really thin and faint. It was like a mandala or something, and it was hideous, but I love the way that it feels. So I was like, I have to do something with it. So I was going to send it back, and I was like, no, I'm going to just modify it. And this was my very first modification that was successful. The other ones were not so successful, but that's okay. I usually do this to really inexpensive decks anyway. And like I said, I do have like a lot of traditional decks. I do have expensive decks, but actually this was a gift from my wish list, from my channel. And so this really, really works. Now take the dry one and I'll go over it so that it doesn't get on, because it does actually get here on other cars with the white border. So be very, very mindful and careful. And I'm going to show you, I use these, the smaller decks, the fake decks, to go with my real deck, so that I can make a double deck with double major arcana. So this is a knockoff, but of course it's still the Witch's Tarot. And I modified it. I took the ink pad, and my mistake was taking the whole deck. And no, the ink will bleed through. So I had to actually go in and wipe everyone off. So now I've learned to do that, and I'm just sharing that with you. But so I'm gonna make this a double deck, and it's gonna have double major arcana. And so this is the single deck. So just imagine it's going to be really thick and really scrumptious. And I'm going to use this as clarifiers with the authentic Witch's Tarot. But like I said, when you modify anything, any deck, you get a major connection with it. And it really that's a time to bond with your deck. And it'll start to speak with you. So as you speak, it'll start to give you what you need. So I gave a couple great ideas. I hope you liked the video. If you do like the video, like it, share it, subscribe to this channel. But yeah, at this point, I'm just rambling. But I got a lot of pointers and tips from readers, and I used them. Some worked, some didn't. So I hope this one works for you. And the really cool thing about this is I do a lot of craft projects anyway. So I kind of had this in the house, and I sort of just tried it out. So it wasn't like I had to go out and buy it or anything. So if you have this stamp pad in the house, Yeah, it's the felt one. It's not the sponge one. So here's the difference. Hope you enjoyed the tip.